I was trained in a craft that is 500 years old. Recruitment, legends, poisons. Methods invented by the Okranka are still used today. Want to know where it all began and what it has become? The history of Russian espionage is a textbook on state survival. The history of espionage in Russia is the history of the formation of the state itself, its struggle for survival, expansion, and influence. Here is a detailed overview from its origins to the present day. Origins in ancient Rus, 9th–15th centuries. The very concept of espionage, from the German Speer, meaning scout, emerged much later, but its practices existed from the moment statehood appeared. Military intelligence, scouts. The main task was to gather information about the enemy before military campaigns. Princes sent small detachments or individuals to collect data on enemy troop numbers, weapons, deployment, road conditions, and local morale. Diplomatic intelligence. Guests. People were sent with merchants and official embassies abroad to observe the political situation, city fortifications, and rumors about rulers' plans. Counterintelligence. Identifying and neutralizing enemy scouts was often the responsibility of the princes and their warriors. Tsarist Russia. The birth of organized services. 16th–17th centuries. Systematic state espionage began to take shape under Ivan the Terrible. Ivan IV the Terrible, 1530–1584, created the Oprichnina, which also functioned as a secret police force. The Oprichniki monitored the boyars, uncovered real and imagined conspiracies, and used denunciations, torture, and secret searches. Prikaz Tainik Del, Order of Secret Affairs, 1654–1676, established by Tsar Alexei Mikhailovich, father of Peter the Great. This was Russia's first specialized agency, directly subordinate to the Tsar. It handled political investigations, cases of state importance, monitored local administration, and even managed the Tsar's household. It is considered the direct predecessor of the secret services. Imperial period, from the secret chancellery to the separate corps of gendarmes, 18th, early 20th centuries. The era of large-scale reforms under Peter the Great and subsequent emperors elevated espionage to a new level. Peter I, 1672–1725, established the Preobrazhensky Prikaz, later the secret chancellery, which fought political crimes, particularly against opponents of his reforms. Peter actively used agents abroad to acquire technology and gather political intelligence. Creation of regular intelligence. Under Peter, military strategic intelligence also emerged. Russian diplomats and officers abroad systematically collected military and political information. Secret expedition, 1762–1801. Under Catherine the Great, political investigation was centralized in this body, infamous for its brutal persecution of dissenters such as Radishchev and Novikov. Third section of His Imperial Majesty's own Chancellery, 1826–1880, created by Nicholas I after the Decembrist uprising. This was a full-fledged secret political police. Its leader, the legendary Alexander Benkendorf, established Russia's first systematic network of informants and secret agents both domestically and abroad. Security departments, Okranka, and the separate corps of gendarmes. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, security departments were established in major cities to combat revolutionary movements. They masterfully used provocation and surveillance. The most notorious method was creating fake revolutionary organizations to uncover real revolutionaries, e.g., the Gapon case. Okranka agents infiltrated socialist revolutionary and social democratic parties, including the Bolsheviks. Soviet period, the golden age of espionage, 1917–1991. The revolution gave rise to entirely new security services, which quickly became among the most powerful in the world. Cheka, All-Russian Extraordinary Commission, 1917–1922, created under Felix Dzerzhinsky to combat counter-revolution and sabotage. The Iron Felix laid the foundations of Soviet espionage, uncompromising, ideologically devoted, and global in scale. OGPU, NKVD, 1922 and 1941, successors to the Cheka, an era of grand successes and monstrous crimes. During this period, a powerful foreign intelligence apparatus was created. The Cambridge Five, a brilliant example of ideological recruitment. Cambridge graduates, Kim Philby et al., who held high positions in British intelligence, passed invaluable information to the USSR for decades. Atomic espionage, agent networks in the US and UK, including scientists like the Rosenbergs and Klaus Fuchs, passed secrets of the atomic bomb, enabling the USSR to develop it in record time. Industrial espionage, systematic acquisition of technology for industrialization. SMERSH, 1943–1946, death to spies, the main counterintelligence directorate during the war, known for its high effectiveness in combating German agents and saboteurs. KGB USSR, 1954–1991, The Committee for State Security became a symbol of Soviet power. It was a giant structure combining foreign intelligence, FCD, counterintelligence, leadership security, combating dissent, Fifth Directorate, and more. Cold War, the apex of activity, an invisible war of intelligence agencies with the CIA and MI6 across the globe. Legendary illegals, outstanding agents who lived under false names in NATO countries for years like William Fisher, Rudolf Abel. Active measures, campaigns of disinformation, discrediting opponents, and influencing public opinion in the West. Secret practices of Soviet spies. Soviet intelligence developed unique methods. Recruitment, focused on ideology, agents of influence or compromise rather than money. Conspiracy, multi-level communication systems, dead drops, invisible ink, radio transmissions from embassy grounds. Work undercover, intelligence officers operated under diplomatic, journalistic, or international organization cover. Illegals, the most elite group, they lived under deep cover without diplomatic immunity and gathered the most valuable intelligence. Post-Soviet period and modern Russia, 1991, present. The collapse of the USSR led to a crisis in the security services, followed by their recovery and strengthening. 1990s, the KGB was dissolved. The FSB, Internal Security and Counterintelligence, SVR, Foreign Intelligence, and FSO, Protection of Leadership, were created on its basis. This was a time of funding cuts, loss of agents, and declining prestige. 2000s, present. The rise to power of Vladimir Putin, a former KGB officer, marked the revival and strengthening of the security services role, the Siloviki. The special services regained their key place in Russia's political system. Modern practices of Russian special services. Cyber espionage and hacking. Groups like Cozy Bear, Fancy Bear are linked to Russian special services. Their goals include data theft, disinformation, and influencing elections in other countries. Disinformation and propaganda, hybrid warfare, using media, telegram channels, and social media bots to create narratives, undermine trust in Western institutions, and ignite social conflicts. False flag operations. Conducting operations while disguised as others, e.g., private military companies or rebel groups. Targeted assassinations and poisonings. Use of exotic poisons, e.g., Novichok, as in the cases of Alexander Litvinenko 2006 and Sergei and Yulia Skripal 2018. These operations often serve as demonstrations to intimidate potential traitors. Economic espionage, theft of technology to bypass sanctions and develop critical industries. Ideological recruitment, recruiting supporters among far-right, far-left, and anti-globalist movements in the West to advance Russian interests. Use of diplomatic channels. Diplomats often are career or freelance intelligence officers, using immunity to coordinate operations. The history of espionage in Russia has evolved from princely scouts to powerful imperial special services, then to ideologically motivated and incredibly effective Soviet security organs, and finally to modern hybrid methods where digital technology and disinformation play as big a role as traditional intelligence work. Throughout this history, two constants remain: the deep integration of special services into the state system and their focus on the foreign policy goals of the ruling regime.
They taught me secrets centuries old. Poisons, codes, betrayal. The KGB playbook is real. My favorite, new novel, The Spy of the TAIGA, reveals it all. The dead drops, the lies, the missions buried by history. The truth is classified. Until now. Unlock the mission on Amazon. Author Anna GOGOLEVA, The Spy of the TAIGA. Buy now, before it's declassified.